Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy us a podcast.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
On this vote, the ayes are 51, the nays are 48. The Senate recedes from its amendment and concurs in H.R. 1. With further amendment, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is passed.
We believe that this product will do two extremely important things for the country. Number one, provide middle-class tax relief, and number two, provide business changes that make us more competitive.
On this vote, the yeas are 227 and the nays are 203. The conference report is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
In February, on February 1st, look at your paychecks, because you'll see the tax relief we delivered today. And on April 15th, you will, for the last time, file your taxes under this horrible, terrible tax code that we're putting behind us for the American people.
This is profound change, and this is change that is going to put our country on the right path.
As you've heard all of my colleagues say, the facts are not irrelevant. And so we're just beginning to make the argument to the American people.
If people are out there on TV telling mistruths, disguising the facts of this thing, that's going to make it unpopular. Results are going to make this popular.
What is happening on the floor of the House is an immorality, is a betrayal of the role that we have to meet the needs of the American people, will indebt future generations.
They will rue the day they did it.
Okay, so it's happened. It has happened, everybody. Congratulations. Don't you feel wealthy? In February, you're going to see your dollar, your $15, your dollar, whatever. Yeah, AT&T's already seen, the benefits of this tax bill. Listen, first of all, let's go through who wrote this tax bill, shall we? Let's just look at, what has happened here, and then I'm going to show you a real-world example of what happens when companies hire lobbyists to lobby on the tax code. The greatest vehicle for wealth redistribution in the history of the world is our tax code, which, by the way, has not been simplified. Just want to say, the loopholes for business, the loopholes for the wealthy, all still lovingly preserved in this tax code. Nothing has been taken out that would affect wealthy tax preparer, the preparer for a wealthy person or for a corporate. Nothing has changed. 7 brackets going in, 7 brackets coming out. Nothing has. They did not do tax reform. They did monumental tax cuts for corporations, and America knows it. They took the 35%, statutory rate, which is an effective tax rate anywhere between 0 and like 16% for companies now. And they gave them all kinds of, benefits by lowering the statutory rate, repealing the corporate alternative minimum tax, meaning that if you came up with 0, you kind of had to pay something. Well, they don't have to pay anything anymore. So that's gone. I mean, this is just ridiculous, but I want to show you what really goes on Capitol Hill. Okay, watch this.
The President of the United States said he liked the idea of the Patriot Corporation Act, liked the idea of the Working Families Relief Act, but then he turned it over to Senator McConnell. You know what happened down this hall? You know what happened? For people that don't work here and live here and see this, I just would point out, Mr. President, down the hall, 100 feet, is Senator McConnell's office.
Okay.
Wall Street lobbyist after Wall Street lobbyist walked in that door and out that door. Tobacco lobbyist after tobacco lobbyist walked in that door and out that door. Oil company lobbyist after oil company lobbyist walked in that door and out that door.
Really?
As I said, they didn't carry bags of money themselves. That would be uncouth. But they sure wrote provisions in this tax bill that provide bags of money for their companies, for the tobacco companies, for Wall Street, for the oil companies, for the drug companies, over and over and over, Mr. President. They made it clear they're benefiting one class of people, the wealthiest Americans, corporate CEOs, board members, and stockholders who see their profits rise and grow their businesses when they ship jobs overseas.
So that's Sherrod Brown, okay, trying to explain to you what goes on right behind the doors where they stand in the well and they give these fabulous speeches. Right behind them, the lobbyists can peer through the little glass door. They have just met with Mitch McConnell. They have gone to the Senate office buildings. They have had fundraisers at Charlie Palmer's for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. They have had, amazing fundraisers. They have padded the pockets of the Republicans who don't give a rat's ass about the deficit, except when they do, who don't give a rat's ass about the middle class. They never do. And whose entire reason for living is to win re-election and maintain power. I mean, that's the little game that gets played. So that was Sherrod Brown. And now he's going to talk about what the next steps are for the Republicans.
This bill, we know, explodes the deficit. We know what the plan is to deal with the deficit. You know what they do?
Yes.
They steal the money Americans have paid into Social Security and Medicare. How do we know that? I'm not just saying, as a progressive Democrat in this body, I'm not just saying, well, of course they're going to cut Social Security and Medicare. I think that, but you know why I'm sure of it? I always was pretty sure of it because that's what they do. But I'm sure of it because they said that. They've made their plans crystal clear. Speaker Ryan says he wants to turn next year to what he calls entitlement reform.
Exactly.
Now, entitlement reform are retirement and health benefits people earn over a lifetime of work. You know what social insurance? Social insurance, you pay into Medicare over the course of your life. When you need Medicare, when you're 65, you get this insurance. You pay into Social Security their entire life. You either get survivor's benefits for your children, or you get disability, or you get retirement when you reach the age of 66, more or less. You pay into unemployment insurance, and if you need it, God willing, you don't. But if you need it, you get help. That's what social insurance is. You pay for it, and you get help from society. It's society-wide social insurance. That's why it's called that. But Ways and Means Chairman Kevin Brady said the next stop for Republicans is to tackle entitlement. So here's what we know. This bill is going to cause huge deficits. We know that. They've acknowledged that. 2, 3, 4 years from now, Republican members will come to us. They'll, after the lobbyists have been down the hall with Senator McConnell's office, they'll come back and they'll say to us, we got this huge budget deficit. We're going to have to raise this eligibility age for Social Security maybe to 70. Some of them have talked about that. We're going to have to privatize Medicare because they say we got to make these programs stronger and sustainable.
Stronger.
Nobody thinks they want to make them stronger. They want to cut them. That's how you save money, right? Even though you don't in the end.
Poor Sherrod Brown. I mean, this is how everybody who has a brain feels today. Sherrod Brown opening the door that separates the lobbyists from the Senate well to show you where Mitch McConnell's office is, to show you where the lobbyists are, and to quote Paul Ryan that the next big project is entitlement reform. These are social insurance programs. These are earned benefits, as I like to call them. Okay, people get really weirded out when you say social, when you say insurance. So let's call it what it is. These are earned benefits. You pay in over a lifetime, expecting that those benefits will be there for you or for your survivors should you pass away. You expect that when you become a senior citizen, you're going to get Medicare because you've paid in your entire life. You expect that you paid into the unemployment system, and so did your employer, so that if you become unemployed through no fault of your own, you're fired, you can get unemployment insurance so that you can live another day to look for a job and still eat lunch. Okay, maybe you're skipping breakfast and dinner, but you can still grab something in your belly before you go to the interview so that they don't hear your stomach growling above your pitch. Okay, so that's what's that all that's there for. You think that Medicaid you pay in your whole life. Oh, Medicaid's only for the poor? No, it's for your mother's nursing home. So what do? They're going to cut. They already cut Medicaid in this bill. $1 trillion cut to Medicaid. Okay, and they put $500 a year in it for you so that your mother, your grandmother, can be kicked out of the nursing home and go live with you, and you'll get $500 a year to take care of your mother or your grandma. $500 a month isn't enough to cover their prescription costs. $500 a month isn't enough to cover their nursing care costs. $500 a month isn't enough for insulin. This is their plan. This is what they're doing. It is just the sickest, most twisted thing. I haven't even gotten to the most horrible thing I saw today, okay? Wait, the most horrible thing I saw today. I'll try and get it into this hour because it was so horrible and people need to see it. But this is just bat crap crazy, okay? It's nuts. Here's Nancy Pelosi calling it exactly what we called it yesterday. Yesterday we said it was a heist. This heist was, it's bigger than the Lufthansa heist, okay? This is huge. This is bigger than the Bush tax cuts. This is where you got $600 to shut up and go away. $2 a day you got. This one will give you $1 a day. $930 a year for most people. The middle fifth of America, $900 a year. 6 million people are going to actually see their taxes go up in the middle class because they live in states where they're no longer able to deduct their property taxes, which are super high. Why? Because their high-tax states invest in them. Their high-tax states like having world-class schools, like having the Medicaid expansion, like having, roads and bridges that are in, functioning form. And so they charge more to live there because you get more when you live there, and that's why people live there. But they're going to see their taxes go up.
This GOP tax scam is simply theft. Monumental, brazen theft from the American middle class and from every person who aspires to reach it. The GOP tax scam is not a vote for an investment in growth or jobs. It is a vote to install a permanent plutocracy in our nation.
Hello.
They'll be cheering that later. It does violence to the vision of our founders. It disrespects the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform, who are a large part of our middle class and to whom we owe a future worthy of their sacrifice. And it betrays the future and betrays the aspirations of our children. It morally demands a no vote from every member of this House.
Yeah, good luck with that. It did not work. But I want to play you something this is frightening. Okay, she said, let's just explain what she meant. It defies the vision of our founders. What is she talking about? How could a tax bill violate the vision of our founders? Our founders were on the wall against an aristocracy. They were on the wall always standing guard against the rich, controlling a king, inheritance, ne'er-do-well, lucky sperm club winners ruling our country. They wanted the people to govern themselves. They wanted the people to choose representation based on their wants, hopes, dreams, and desires, not the aristocracy to choose policies for them. And so that's what she means by it defies with the estate tax, $22 million now. You can inherit as a living, live human being. You can inherit. You can be worth $22 million the day after your parents die or your father dies or your great uncle dies and leaves it to you. You can be, receiving $22 million and have done zero work for it and get that money tax free. But if I make $1, then I have to pay taxes on my $1. I mean, this is crazy. But here is the most vile thing I saw all day today, because she mentions plutocracy. This is the natural jumping off point for the most horrible, horrible thing I saw today. All right, first I'm going to play you Chuck Schumer today. Went out in front of a microphone to explain to you how corporations do not have an effective tax rate of 35%, and they never did. That they fire employees, they trim their workforce so that they can do share buybacks and reward their shareholders by cutting labor costs. And sometimes, like in the case of this particular company that he's going to mention, oh, this is creepy. Wait till you see. He mentions At&T here, okay? Paying an 8% effective tax rate. Okay? Watch this.
Corporations are flush with cash right now. The stock market's booming. Job creation isn't. Look at all the companies that have already said they're going to use their tax break for stock buybacks, for dividends that don't affect average Americans. And I love the example of At&T. Over the last 10 years, At&T has paid an average tax rate of 8% a year. They have 80,000 fewer employees today than they had then. Tax breaks don't lead to job creation. They lead to big CEO salaries and money for the very, very wealthy.
Now the most horrible evidence of what this tax cut does, you can watch, okay? Because Chuck Schumer picked AT&T. Apparently, I'm not the only one that watches C-SPAN. Apparently, I'm not the only one that watches CNN. Apparently, the CEO of AT&T, oh yeah, the CEO of AT&T, Randall Stephenson, also saw this. And within seconds, Randall Stephenson, who had said, you know, I mean, he is a devout Republican contributor. He hires lobbyists, and he is now the subject of an antitrust action by President Trump's Department of Justice because AT&T wants to buy CNN. They want to merge with Time Warner. And there's a big antitrust case pending at the Department of Justice preventing this merger, okay, from going through. Randall Stephenson saw Chuck Schumer invoke AT&T and immediately decided to make a phone call and tell the president that because this tax bill went through, and included in this tax bill is something called an expensing of investments. And because Randall Stephenson knows that if he spends $1 billion, it will cost him nothing because it's a complete and total write-off. This is what I mean about loopholes that were built into this tax code, in addition to the ones he already had. Because of expensing of investments, he can now say out loud that he will give $1,000, woohoo, $1,000 to 200,000 employees. It will cost AT&T absolutely nothing to do it because it will be expensed this year. And so it will make the Democrats look stupid and bad because Chuck Schumer just mentioned AT&T. And within seconds, the president comes out and says...
And I noticed this just came out 2 minutes ago. They handed it to me.
Oh, my God.
AT&T plans to increase U.S. capital spending $1 billion and provide $1,000 special bonus to more than 200,000 U.S. employees, and that's because of what we did. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are now watching is a transactional government that is not ruled by the people. It is ruled by the corporations. Plutocracy, oligarchy, whatever you want to call it. AT&T will spend $1,000 for $2 million, which costs it nothing now because they will expense it thanks to this new tax bill. But they can make Chuck Schumer and the Democrats look stupid and weak by giving $1,000 to their employees. I mean, the CEO of AT&T did everything except give President Trump a hand job right there in public and say, can I buy CNN now? You get what happened here? They call the shots, not you.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit RandiRhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Hey everybody, it's Brett from the Randi Rhodes Show, and all I want for Christmas is an impeachment. But the next best thing is working at the Randi Rhodes Show, and that can't happen without your support. Let's help Randi make this a hard truth holiday season, and she can't do that without your support. So please keep listening and buy a stinking podcast.
Hi, I'm Laura Flanders of The Laura Flanders Show. Watch every week on Free Speech TV, Link TV, YouTube, or if you're in New York, CUNY TV. Prefer to listen? Subscribe to the free podcast at lauraflanders.com. I end every week with a commentary. I call it the F word. Here's this week's. It's life or death for the Federal Communications Commission, and death may be the honest option. After all, the FCC's mission to regulate communications media in the public interest was forged long ago in a time very different from our own, and it's been beaten to a pulp by politicians of both parties over the last 2 decades. Now Donald Trump's FCC chair Ajit Pai wants to kill the wounded agency off, and he may have done it to all intents and purposes at the Commission's meeting this December 14th. The history of the agency goes back to a time when new technology was bursting with potential and open to use or abuse with devastating implications for democracy. Its mission was forged by movements long back who understood that the nation teetered on a brink. Would we be the land of misogyny, white supremacy, militarism, anti-Semitism, and anti-immigrant bias, or something better? At the time, world capitalism was accumulating unchecked. The social justice movements of the 1920s and 30s disagreed about a lot, but they understood from experience that no one of them stood a chance of shifting power or displacing arrogance without a functioning public information system. The future of the nation would only go one way, they said, if only those who could pay could have a say. In the 1940s, under FDR, the chairman of the FCC was a civil rights advocate, one of Rosa Parks' lawyers. Clifford Durr pursued media justice with a social justice passion because he and the movements at his back believed that diversity, localism, and competition were civil rights means to a civil, fair society. All these years on, decades of paid propaganda have many Americans convinced that government has no business meddling in the business of media. Social movements mostly don't get too involved in media regulation either because, well, they believe that, like the AFL-CIO or the NAACP, they can afford to buy big-dollar ads on the big boss's media and cross their fingers that the workers' message gets across unchanged.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Oh, great minds think alike. Check this out. This is CNBC.
Okay, because here's the thing. There's 2 things here. Number one, $1,000 as a bonus, 200,000 people. That's good. For those 200,000 people, that matters. It's more bill payments, gifts under the tree, savings, whatever they want to do with it. Good on AT&T. That's good news. One wonders, the skeptic in me does wonder.
Yeah.
This is a company that is engaged in the biggest fight with the Trump administration in the United States. And now they're saying, hey, thanks to the president. Do you think Trump reacts to this?
Probably reacts to everything. I don't doubt there's politics in this, but also don't forget there's an important provision in the tax bill. I think you hinted at it about drawing investment forward. You can do full expensing, 100% of capital expenditures for the next 5 years. That is up from 50%. That is an incentive to any kind of...
To do it now.
To do it now. It's
right.
huge.
In fact, for some industries, the expensing will be a bigger impact than the tax rate change.
Yes, absolutely. Because the tax rate change, they're still paying a whole lot less than 35%. They're paying a whole lot less than 21%. They're paying 8%. Some of them are getting checks back, okay? The alternative minimum tax is gone. They don't have to pay jack crap anymore. Corporations are going to get a free ride here in the United States. And in fact, on foreign profits, because we've gone to a territorial system, they are going to be incentivized to move overseas. Because if they make foreign profits, they're not taxable in the United States as they were yesterday. Now they're not taxable here at all. So this was a complete and utter, I mean, they licked the butts of the oligarchs. They licked the butts of, and don't forget, this is unbelievable. Here's another one. This is a Wall Street blog, okay, that they said it was hard to miss the chaotic news miasma of 2017. But AT&T has spent the entire year trying to close its merger deal with Time Warner. The whole thing has been plagued by regulatory roadblocks thrown up by government that openly detests regulation but hates Time Warner because they own CNN, and their loathing is all-consuming. We're sure that has nothing to do with it, though, right, Justice Department? But with both parties set to sue the DOJ for blocking the merger because Donald Trump is in a Twitter beef with Don Lemon, AT&T has shifted gears and decided to play along with the emotional needs of a government run by an egomaniacal adolescent. Upon noticing that Trump's massive corporate tax cut will now become law, AT&T CEO Randall Stephenson has rubbed some Jergens into his warm palms, dropped to his knees, closed his eyes, and dictated this statement. Quote, Congress, working closely with the president, took a monumental step to bring taxes paid by U.S. businesses in line with the rest of the industrialized world, CEO Randall Stephenson said in a statement. This tax reform will drive economic growth and create good-paying jobs. In fact, we will increase our U.S. investment and pay a special bonus of $1,000 to our U.S. employees. The point of this entire phallatic exercise is comically clear. We do have to give Stevenson points for straight out not asking, can we buy CNN now? And he gets double points for resisting the urge to just go full throttle and tell shareholders that he feels safe every day, quote, knowing that our strong and smart president is protectively caressing but never grabbing our nation with his infamously huge hands. This is Wall Street writing this. Oh, and speaking of, massage to the various body parts, did anybody see this bizarro world thing in the cabinet meeting today? Oh, oh my God, this was the cabinet meeting this morning. Now, I cut it up because the media will show you the portion where Trump is going to tell you that while the media, was kept in the dark, so were the Democrats, about the drilling and ANWR provision that's also in this tax cut, which I told you about yesterday. And also the killing of Obamacare by, ending the mandates, repealing the mandates, which the Republicans today are famously saying makes Obamacare unworkable. And this explains why my premiums went up. They doubled. My health care premium went from $713 to $1,300 per month this year, because in October, Trump stopped paying the CSR payments to the insurance companies, which help them afford me a subsidy on the price, and then I get a subsidy because I don't make a whole lot of money, right? So their end was killed, right? Their subsidy was killed. I still got mine, but their subsidy was killed. So that happened in October. Those payments haven't been restored. And so when they were selling their policies for 2018, they doubled the cost of the policy. But I have to have health insurance. And so you just have to bite the bullet and do it, right? Okay. So anyway, today they had this cabinet meeting where Trump proclaimed that Obamacare was covertly killed in this tax bill. And yes, we're going to, open ANWR to oil drilling. And won't this be great? And then after he made these two announcements, this is what happened.
Ben, we'll ask you to say grace. Thank you.
Say grace.
Our kind Father in heaven, we're so thankful for the opportunities and the freedom that you've granted us in this country. We thank you for the president and for cabinet members who are courageous, who are willing to face the winds of controversy in order to provide a better future for those who come behind us. We're thankful for the unity in Congress that has presented an opportunity for our economy to expand so that we can fight the corrosive debt that has been destroying our future.
Whoa! Ben Carson saying a prayer in a cabinet meeting, praising God for getting us out from under our debt while they just signed a bill that adds $1.5 trillion to our debt. This is like Neverland. This is really, really down is up and up is down and black is white and we're through the looking glass, people. This is craziness. Why are we praying in the first place at a cabinet meeting, number one? Number two, why are we praying and thanking God? I thought it was render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God. I thought God doesn't pick winners and losers in the economy. I thought that was Caesar that did. Oh my God, this was so insane.
And we hope that that unity will spread even beyond party lines.
Oh my God.
So that people recognize that we have a nation that is worth saving. And recognize that nations divided against themselves cannot stand.
Excuse me, but our economy is, booming. Wall Street is booming. We have 4.1% unemployment, which is full employment. Why? Why are they saying these things? And why is he saying it to God?
In this time of discord, distrust, and dishonesty,
oh my God,
we ask that you would give us a spirit of gratitude, compassion, and common sense, and give us the wisdom to be able to guide this great nation. In the future, we ask in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
What the F is going on? And then, after this prayer, Trump went around the table like that twisted cabinet meeting he had back, I guess it was in June or July, where he had every cabinet member praise him as if he were the king. He did it again. And this was like really creepy because you can only see Mike Pence's little head here. It looked just like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, It looked like one of those, like Seinfeld. Like, when Larry David played George Steinbrenner and you only saw the back of his head.
Mike, would like to say a few words?
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. President. As I told you last night, shortly after the Senate vote.
Those aren't pillows.
I know I speak on behalf of the entire cabinet and
look at the
millions of Americans when I say congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for seeing through the course of this year an agenda that truly is restoring this country. You described it very well, Mr. President. From the outset of this administration, we've been rebuilding our military, putting the safety and security of the American people first.
What?
You've restored American credibility on the world stage.
What?
We're standing with our allies. We're standing up to our enemies. But
we have pissed off every ally we have. Last night, I think our allies said something like, we feel threatened. We feel like seriously threatened by this president. This president is scaring the bejesus out of us allies as he cozies up to Russia, who is behind, all the troubles that everybody has in Iran and in Syria and, in North Korea. I mean, Russia supports these regimes. This is crazy. This is madness. This is mass madness. Everything is opposite of what it is. Pence is sitting there and he's like sucking up to this thank you, and everything is ass backwards. This is unbelievable. This is crazy. This is absolute bizarro world. I've never seen anything like this in my entire freaking life. I have never experienced a government of such propaganda. I have never seen such a demagogue. I have never seen somebody who is so junior high school adolescent that he needs praise because he's having a breakout. I mean, I never saw anything like this. Meanwhile, you have the senators making out like bandits. Literally, Bob Corker made out like a bandit. It never seems so literal as it does now. These people, we won't add a penny to the deficit. You added 1 trillion pennies to the deficit. Trillions and trillions of pennies to the deficit. I don't want to say the middle class gets nothing but scraps, but you might as well just get used to eating off the kitchen floor, everybody. And it's not even scraps. It's a bone. Because, see, scraps you could eat, digest, and, But a bone, because they're going to want it back. They gave you a bone to chew on temporarily because they're going to want it all back in the form of Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, education, infrastructure, you name it. They're going to cut it. This is sick. This is crazy. This is lunacy. RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.